Moving beyond the basics for our solution, let's go ahead and demonstrate how to create several functions. In this case, let's go ahead and define a function called CLS, inspired by Microsoft Windows, where we're going to have the number of lines equal to 50, which will clear the screen no matter where we're running, simply to print the new line character or \n times the num of lines, and then clear the screen by calling the function. Let's print the output of CLS to find, surprisingly, that although we didn't tell CLS to return anything, it did indeed return something called none, or the none type. Just like we can redefine our variables by replaying a previous entry, we could also return anything we want, in this case num lines, to demonstrate. But of course, since we didn't intercept what was displayed, the underscore in our version of Python will contain the default value. Of course, we can use the result of CLS before we assign it to a value, in this case, knowing that we're going to have an integer returned. We could add 100 to my var, and although we did indeed clear the screen, we notice that the result from CLS did indeed have 100 added to it. And if we wanted to simply go ahead and CLS for 10, we see that we didn't move up very much. And that CLS is a very handy function. So if we wanted to redefine our function so as to have input ask us the number of lines, we'd simply get rid of the input parameter. And because we've got rid of the input parameter, we're going to have to get num lines from input. This time making sure to put our colon and our space after input. And then because num lines is a string, we would have to convert num lines to an integer by using the built-in int class. You can think of it as a function, but it really is creating an instance of int so as to return the number of lines we've asked CLS to print for us. Now, when we call CLS with a parameter, we're going to get an error known as an exception. And you should get used to seeing exceptions, because when we're running Python, we will see a lot of exceptions. But keeping in mind, if we call CLS as we now updated the definition to be, we could enter in, for example, the number 3, have 3 returned to us, as we see, noting that if we did not enter in something that could be converted to an integer, we would get yet another exception, because what we entered, or what, with 2 question marks, cannot be converted to an integer.